Good morning, everybody. Thanks for tuning into this channel and watching this video. What I wanted to show you today is basically how to start doing some multi-track recording in Linux. And for this tutorial, what I'm using, the distribution of Linux that I'm using rather, is one called Elementary OS. And you can download that at elementary.io. This one is based on Ubuntu, and I just really like it, and so that's why I'm using this. I just found out about it a couple of weeks ago, and since then I really just have been using it for everything. But this tutorial, for all intents and purposes, should work on Ubuntu as well, I think. I don't see why it wouldn't, but you never know. With Linux, it can be weird. But this one is built on Ubuntu, and it uses the Ubuntu Software Center, so I'm assuming that all of this should work just fine in Ubuntu. But if it doesn't, well, I don't know. You can comment, and I can try to figure out why it's not working for you and let you know. Or you could just download Elementary OS and use that because, well, one, it looks really cool. It looks a lot like Mac OS, which you may or may not like, but how can you not like this? It looks great. It's really just slick looking. And it's got the dock down here, you've got applications up here. It even has a lot of the same keyboard shortcuts that Mac OS has, like you can hold, well, since this is not a Mac that I'm using, it's a Windows computer, you can hold down the Windows key and press spacebar. That brings up the little applications finder, which is very much like Spotlight. Has the launchers down here, which I've customized a bit. I took away some of the default things and added my own. As you can see, I have Audacity, the king of freeware audio editors, down here, and turn off that Facebook notification. I also have Ardour 3, which is basically the best DAW, D-A-W, that you can get for Linux. Or it's really the only one that's full-featured or almost full-featured, or yeah, I'd say it's pretty full-featured actually. So this, if you want to do like multi-track audio recording, I'm not talking about producing electronic music really, because there are some better software in Linux to do that. But this is if you want to record your band on multiple tracks or do solo stuff with real drums and guitars and all that. You're going to want Ardour 3. Really, nothing else is going to be able to do it. So, the thing is with Ardour 3, and what I'm going to talk about in this video, I'm not going to show you how to record. I'm going to get into that in a different video. This is basically just to set this up and make it work. Because when you first install it, it's not going to work. It's going to open up, and it's going to crash, or it's just going to lock up, and you're going to be like, what the fuck? Why do people want to use this? This sucks. And yeah, I guess that's partly true, but only if you don't configure things beforehand. And okay, so first off, let me quit jibber-jabbering, and let's just do this. You're going to want to install Ardour 3. So you're going to go to your software center in Elementary or Ubuntu will have this program. And this just really simplifies installing programs. And what you're going to do is search for Ardour. I mean, I put in Ardour 3, and that'll bring it up. I already have it installed, so it says remove there, but I obviously don't want to do that. You're going to click install, and after it starts downloading stuff, it's going to ask you for your administrator password, and you're going to put that in and let it install. As it installs, it's also going to install something called Jack, the Jack Audio Connection Kit. And it's kind of funny that the name Jack actually stands for Jack. But anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so it's going to install Jack and something else called QJack CTRL or something like that. Let me just find it. Go in here, QJack control. It's a great name. So those two things are going to get installed alongside Ardour when you install Ardour 3. And what those are I just open this up. I'm not going to start this yet, and I'm going to explain why we don't want to start this yet here in a bit. But what we can do is just show you what this is. And it looks like, I know when you open that up, it looks like an audio player, but it's not. Basically what this is, it's a way to start, well, okay, let me go back. Jack, the Jack audio connection kit, Jack itself is basically the low latency driver for Linux. Think of it as your ASIO audio driver that works in Windows. Jack is kind of the equivalent to that in Linux. Some programs like Ardour 3 require you to use Jack for it to run. If you don't use Jack Ardour 3, it's just not going to work. And like I said before, when you first install Jack, it's just not going to work. It won't. There's gonna be problems with it. You're gonna click start here, or you're gonna try to open up Ardour, and it's just gonna freeze. And the reason for that is, I actually need to open up my browser here. I forgot. I had my notes up here. The reason for that, the reason why it'll freeze, is because there's a couple of little things that you need to edit in some config files before you can actually run Jack. So in the meantime, we're just going to leave this as is. And what we're going to do over here is we're going to use text editor called Nano. So you're also going to need to use sudo. Sudo is, I mean, I don't know what level of Linux users are watching this video. I would assume that you're going to be beginner to intermediate if you're watching this video. So I don't know if I need to explain sudo, but basically it's just a way to have administrator rights to commands and stuff that you're entering rather than using your super user account. Without explaining that too much, I'm sure you can watch a million other videos on YouTube that talk about that. So anyway, we're just going to type in sudo nano. Nano is the text editor that we're going to use. I like that one because it's really lightweight and simple to use. And then the file that we're going to edit is in etc., or etc as some people call it, security limits .conf config. And then it's going to ask me for my password. Okay, so this little file, we just need to add 2 lines to this file. I've seen other tutorials where they have you add all kinds of stuff in here. As far as I know, all you need are these 2 lines, and these always work for me, so I'm gonna go with this. It's my story and I'm sticking to it. The 2 lines that you're going to need to add are these last 2 in my file, besides the end of file. Basically what you're going to put in is @ symbol, and then real time, and a bunch of spaces there, and then hyphen, and then over here you're going to put in RT prio, and that just means real time priority. In this field you're going to put in 99. The line below it you're going to type in real time, and then hyphen, and memlock, which means memory lock, and then you're going to put in unlimited. So that's all you need to do. Once you do that, you're going to hold down the control key on your keyboard and press the letter O, and that will save the file. Where it says write out right here, that's what that's talking about. And then after you save the file, it'll ask you if you want to confirm, say yes, and then you're going to hold down control and press the letter X, and then that will exit Nano. So let's go ahead and do that. I already edited mine, so I don't need to save it. So that's all done. Okay, what you're going to do now, after you've edited your limits.config file in the security folder, is you basically have to create those groups, or the group, real-time group, that you were referencing in that file. And what I mean by that is, remember in those 2 lines that you edited, you put in @ real time. What that means, you could either put in a name there, like a username, or a group. It's better to do a group for some reason that I can't remember right now, and I'm not going to explain it because I just can't remember. So, but I know that there's a reason. I've read about it before, and there is a reason to use a group. So just trust me and do it as a group. So I'm getting sidetracked. But what we're going to do now is actually create the group that we were referencing in that limits.config folder. So in order to do that, all you have to do is just type group add and then real time and press enter. Or I'm sorry, you have to do sudo group add real time. This is harder because I'm not actually entering it in mine because I already did everything. I probably should have done this with you guys watching originally, but I didn't have the idea to make the video until after I already did it. I can't speak right now. I don't know what's wrong with me, but maybe because I just worked like 10 hours. Anyway, if you're wondering, the first part of this video was done in the morning, and now it's the evening after I got out of work. You probably weren't wondering that at all, but that's why I'm kind of crazy though. So anyway, you're going to press enter there, and it's going to create the group. And then after you created that real-time group, you're going to add yourself to the real-time group. And in order to do that, all you have to do is type usermod dash lowercase a space dash uppercase G, or sorry, yeah, I already said dash, uppercase G, and then real time, and then your user ID, whatever that may be. And mine is Justin because that's my name. And then just press enter, and then it will add you to that group. After you've done all of that, Jack should work. Should is the key word here. But 99% of the time it's going to work after you do those two things. Because a lot of the time the problem is actually the real-time priority and just not having rights to that, and it tries to start in real time because that's the whole purpose of Jack to begin with, is so you have low latency. If it can't run in real time, then it's kind of pointless to even use it. My opinion of Jack personally is I kind of hate it. I've never really liked it. I've gotten good at, like, fairly good at using it just because, like, I had to make music in Linux, and it does work once you get it all working. But it's just such a fragile bitch. Like, any little thing will mess it up, and like, so you just have to be careful. Anyway, without going on a rant, I mean, I just think that it would be much nicer, and I know I get a lot of flack about this from the Linux community when I talk shit on Jack, but I think it would be a lot nicer if there was just something simple like, you know, port audio or whatever it's called for Mac and for Windows, ASIO, something that doesn't require like a ton, like all this crap to make it work, and like all this Q-Jack control and all that crap. I mean, I just think it's kind of overkill, and you just want to get in and make music, and you don't want to deal with all this stuff. But that being said, it still does work, and once you get it set up, it works really well. So I'll quit my bitching. It is good. It's much better than it used to be. I mean, back in the days when I first started using Linux, like, I don't know when it was, I guess like the late 90s or early 2000s, there was basically nothing, like all audio software just sucked on Linux. The only one that I remember where you could actually record, and me and my friend Dave did some recording with this in the early 2000s on this program called Epiphone, which is still around, and I use it from time to time just because it's kind of fun if you're a nerd. It's just like a fully text-based audio recorder, and you can actually even do multi-track recording with it, which is kind of insane. Like, it has like no graphical interface at all, so it's just all command line, and you can do like multi-track with like effects processing and all this stuff. Like, it's really crazy to wrap your head around it, but it will work. And anyway, getting sidetracked again, but so the whole point here that I'm trying to do is show you how to start Ardour with Jack. And anyway, now that we changed all that stuff, let's go back into the Q-Jack control, and if we go into setup, you'll see here a few things. Most of it you're not ever going to need to touch. However, one of the main things you're going to need to know about is this interface section, because that's where you select which audio interface you are using. For me at the moment, I have my Behringer, one of those little U-Control Behringer UCA28, whatever it is. That thing's plugged in there. So that one just shows up as HW codec, and so that's the one I'm selecting. If it shows up twice in this list, just select the top one. That seems to be the best choice as far as I can tell. Up here we have NVIDIA, and the reason why that is because I have a HDMI port on this computer. And these ones here are the built-in. One of them's like the computer mic, and the other one's the actual input. But we're not going to be using those. And actually later on in another video I'm going to use a full-blown like multi-channel interface. Now I'll even show you one where you can use multiple interfaces, and that's pretty cool. But I'm not going to do that right now. Sorry. But okay, so real time should already be checked. You want to leave that checked. The rest of this stuff, don't even bother with it. I mean, well, except for this one. The frames period, that is like your buffer setting. And so the lower you have that, the lower your latency is going to be. As you can see, if I change it here, you notice this little thing down here changes. And, you know, that's pretty low. I don't know if mine will run at 256. I haven't tried it yet. Maybe it will. That'd be cool. Sample rate, obviously, is your sample rate. Now, depending on the audio interface that you're using, this may or may not work. Like for this Behringer one, it doesn't seem to do anything. The Behringer just runs at 44.1 no matter what I do here. So maybe it's something else I'm doing wrong as far as that goes, but I don't know, maybe. But yeah, so but 44.1's okay with me. I record pretty much everything in that anyways. People get crazy with the sample rate, but what am I, a dog? My hearing doesn't even go up that high. So for me it's cool, or it's fine. Anyway, that's that. You can save a preset if you like. There's all this other stuff that you'll probably never use, or you might. I used to use some of this stuff when I was doing like all this crazy like MIDI performance crap in Linux, but I don't really do that as much anymore, or ever. So anyway, I'll just click OK. And I'm not going to use Jack to start the audio server, or the QJack control rather. I just use that to set my configuration. I'll just quit, and you can actually, when you start up Ardour 3, it will start Jack automatically, so you don't have to worry about doing that QJack control. And if all goes well, it should start up and your audio driver should work and everything should be good. But in order for me to show you that, I'm actually going to have to pause this and use my video camera, because when I start Ardour 3, it's going to kick in the Jack audio driver that we've been talking about this whole time, and my screen recorder is actually using the built-in mic on my computer, and there's going to be a conflict there between using that and the whatchamacallit. God, I can't think. The built-in mic and the Jack audio stuff at the same time. It just won't work, so I need to pause it and do something else, or maybe I'll just turn off the mic on the screen capture and then I can overdub my voice afterwards. So yeah, I think that's what I'll do. So anyway, no, pause it. You probably wouldn't even noticed. I probably just could have kept going. Alright, so here we are opening up Ardour, and what you're going to do is create a new session. You just click there, name it, and as you'll see here in a second, there was really no reason to use that QJack control, because all of that stuff and all those settings is going to be in this next screen. Once I click open, see there, you can change your audio settings, you can do the interface, you can do the buffer size, and all of that. So I don't know why I just forgot that that was there. So just click OK. Now I guess I'm noodling around there some more. I'm overdubbing my voice now, so I forget what I did. So you click OK, and then the project is going to open up, and there you go, it opened. Yay! Here's your mixer. There's nothing in there yet, but what I'm going to show you is I'll add a couple of tracks, and the way to do that, it's just like Cubase. You just right click in the gray area and then add. That's how you record enable them, obviously. And then you click on these little, not that, on the 1 button, and this is how you select your inputs. So now you can see that's input 1 of the Behringer audio interface, and if we go into the second channel here and just click on 2, it's already got it selected. And if you were using multiple inputs, you could select all of those there. And that's pretty much it. Once you're all set up, now you should be able to record. And it's good to go. So thanks for watching this. Sorry for the the weirdness of me being tired and all of that, but hopefully that's helped you get started. I know that when I first started trying to record in Linux, I was frustrated a lot because it seemed like every time I installed something, nothing ever worked. But if you just want to go in and do some multi-track audio, this is the way you're going to do it, and it should work just fine. As long as you're using Elementary OS or Ubuntu. At least I hope all of that worked in Ubuntu. Honestly, I didn't test it, but I recommend trying Elementary. If you're brand new to Linux and you haven't used it at all, I'd say give that one a shot. It is really, really cool, and especially if you're coming from Macs, the interface is so much like Mac, you really will feel right at home, and it just looks really nice. So, granted, I had to tweak a couple of things. It is a little bit buggy. I had to install a screensaver and some other things, but I don't want to get too much into that because that's not what this video is about. Hopefully I'm going to make some more of these, though, about recording within Ardour. I think the next one I do, I'm going to record some drums with multiple mics and in a 4-channel or possibly more if I get my other interface in time. Maybe some multiple interfaces. Well, I am definitely going to do that at some point, but maybe not in the next video, but we'll see. Anyway, thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel, Demonic Sweaters. You can check out all the music I make as well on my channel, as well as pretty much anywhere online, Bandcamp and all that. I have a record label called Ant Hill Recordings, and you can check that out at anthillrecordings.com. Anyway, thanks for checking it out. Good luck with your projects. And if you have any questions or anything and want to know something specific, just post it in the comment section and I'll do my best.